This video is a quick guide for writing the process essay. The first step is to choose a good topic. The number one thing to consider is whether or not the topic you have chosen allows for a process explanation rather than a set of instructions. The chapter covers this a little bit more, but a process explanation will give you a little bit more in-depth that you can cover, a little bit more analysis, and so you want to choose a more complex topic. Make sure that the topic you've chosen is something that either you've completed or you have already done some research on because you want to complete it. So for example, if you don't have your passport but are planning on getting one soon, you could use that as a topic. Also consider the importance and complexity of the topic. Good topics are ones that are important for other people to know about, and the more complex a topic is, the easier it will be to fill out your essay. So mowing the lawn is probably not complex enough. However, you don't want to choose something that's too complex because you're only writing 2 pages. So you want to choose a topic that fits within the narrow reaches of the topic assignment. The next step is to write an outline of your essay. You start off your outline with a thesis. Consider why we need to complete or continue to complete this process, or perhaps why we should discontinue this process. Then you want to number all of the important steps in your process. Depending on the topic, you may have a whole lot of numbers, or you may have just a few. Then start adding in things like tips and tricks, and this can be both from you and from experts that you do research on. You might also consider in your outline adding in more the reasons why you complete a certain step. And also add resources that your reader might go to in order to help them with this process. The third step is to add your sources. Now, if you remember, the assignment asks you to find 2 credible sources to supplement your own ideas and experience. These sources should be a place of logical expertise. So if you are writing, for example, on how to change your lawnmower oil, one of your sources might be the manual for your lawnmower, or it might be the website for the lawnmower manufacturer or something like that. You may, if you want, use a personal interview. Only one of your sources can be a personal interview, though, just because it's a good idea to have a variety, and so you might have one web source and one interview source. If you know someone who is an expert, you might use them as a personal interview. For example, my father taught me how to change a tire, so I might use him as a personal interview source. Also, don't forget to look in the library databases. They are possibly less useful for this essay because a lot of the stuff you'll find will be just on the internet in general, but you want to look in places where you know you will have good, credible information. For this essay and all essays in this class, please do not use Wikipedia or other questionable websites. If you, for example, you want to compare your empanada recipe with other empanada recipes, I would highly recommend going to a website like the Food Network rather than just Googling in general and getting a random recipe that somebody else created. The fourth step is to draft your essay. You start off with the introduction paragraph, give a little bit more about why the process is completed, why people should complete it, and that sort of thing, and then insert your thesis at the end. The body, you get to look at your list of steps and decide how to combine them together. You want to combine them logically, so if the first step will take an entire paragraph to explain, then maybe steps 2 through 4 are together in the next paragraph. So every essay is going to be a little bit different depending on your topic. Consider also what you do during the process versus what others will do. There will be certain things that you can do that your reader might not be able to do. Consider specialized equipment. For example, if you are going to write about smoking meat, obviously the reader would have to have a smoker first before they could complete any of the steps. So consider what it means for the general audience to complete this process as well. Your conclusion, then, last paragraph, will just pull it all together, maybe some final tips, summarize what you've discussed, remind them of the usefulness and why they should complete this in their life, and that sort of thing. And the fifth step, of course, is to revise. The number one mistake that students use is using second person, which is a characteristic of a set of instructions. Remember, you're doing a process explanation, so you're using either first person or third person instead of second. Edit for transitions. Make sure that everything follows logically. You can always include better transitions and make sure they don't get too robotic. So the first step, the second step, the third step, and so forth. Use a little bit of variety there. Also, edit for documentation. Remember the requirements for this essay. You have to have 2 sources on your works cited page. You have to use at least 1 quotation and 1 paraphrase in your essay. And you have to have sourced the 2 sources on the works cited page in the essay. So one of your sources, you might use a signal phrase and a quotation somewhere in the beginning of the essay. And the second source might show up as a paraphrase and an in-text citation later on in the essay. Just make sure you have all of the steps of documentation present. Make sure that your essay does consider non-technical audience, especially if you have a very specific topic. So make sure you're defining words that people might not generally know. And then, as always, go through and look for those confusing passages, and the challenge would be to find at least 3 confusing sentences and revise them for clarity. That's all I have for you. Hopefully this will help you write the process essay, and don't forget to check out all of the information that's given to you in the unit.